you are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Hello, I am your Superintendent, Jason Manuel.
And I am Mason Grace. Thank you for joining us for the latest installment of the Germantown Municipal School District's Spotlight on Excellence.
Today our show will highlight one of the many winning cheer and pom programs as we interview classroom teacher and pom sponsor Susan Chappers, who is serving her last year as the HMS pom sponsor, along with HHS pom representative Heather Foreman. We will also check in with PE teacher Mario Aviles on the genesis of the elementary-aged running clubs and the upcoming GMSD Stampede 5K in this week's teacher feature.
But first, we'll check in with Finnegan Gruget for our student spotlight, who has risen to local fame as a weather kid from Houston High School.
Hey Finnegan, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me.
So last name is Gruget? Is
Gruget.
that Gruget? Okay.
Yes, sorry.
So
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started into broadcasting and how you really developed your interest for being a weatherman.
Well, when I was younger, I remember having an interest in weather. I don't remember exactly when I got interested, but when I was younger, I would always watch the weather people on TV, and whenever there was the chance for severe weather, I would always have my tablet in the closet. Have like a little weather center in the closet. And then a couple years ago, I took an online class that teaches you how to forecast the weather. So that helps me a lot today. And then I started a Facebook page. I thought maybe friends and family would get onto it, but it's grown more than what I thought it would have. I have a little over 4,000 likes. So I was surprised about that.
Now, Finnegan, this is a passion of yours, and you've, I guess, like most successful people, have done so much to really prepare yourself for this passion. So you even got into some of the, I guess it's a Cert Training, which is what, Community Emergency Response Team?
Yes.
Which I think is only offered to adults, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about how that happened.
Well, I'm a ham radio operator, so that's how I was able to take the Cert Training. Basically, they train you in case there were to be a natural disaster, say a tornado. They train you how to do search and rescue people if, say, someone was stuck under a building or extinguish fires. And luckily I was able to take that course in Collierville, and that really taught me a lot, because with the weather you basically see the storms, but most of the time you don't see the damage, but the damage is one of the worst parts of it.
So not only are you ready to predict it, but you're there to be responsive once it does hit.
Yes, sir.
So is it just severe weather that you think attracts you to it, or is it just is it the prediction side of it? What really draws you to weather forecasting?
I think it's really cool. It's like predicting the future in aspects of it. I really like severe weather, tornadoes and severe weather, but I also like winter weather since we can get snow days at school. So I like both of them, but severe weather is probably my main interest.
Well, are you worried at all, because you are doing some predicting and there are formulas that you look at to predict this? And I know we had Snowmageddon this past year where we had to close all the schools. Are you ever worried about that pressure of what happens when you don't, predict correctly?
That's very stressful. If there's, say, a severe weather event possible or winter weather, I'll sit on the computer for an hour or two looking at all the data, and then it's stressful because I thought it would just be for my friends and family, but now I actually have people in the community looking at my page, so it's stressful because I know I need to get it as accurate as possible.
So you got the Cert Training. Are there any other certifications you have?
I went through the Collierville Police Academy. That's another interest to have, law enforcement, and then I'm also a ham radio operator, and that's basically communications. So if there were an emergency and cell phones were down, we could talk to people across the country, basically, if we were to have a natural disaster. And then I'm also a trained weather spotter. So if I wanted to go storm chasing, they teach you the different cloud features and what a funnel cloud looks and things like that.
Well, tell us a little bit about the prediction. So How do you predict the weather? Obviously, you're not just out there, looking at the sky and looking at the clouds. There are actually some devices that you use that you've actually had an experience that other people haven't had. You've been on the roof of Houston High School. Tell us a little bit about what you've done.
So for current predictions, we actually have a weather station on the roof of the high school, and we can measure things like wind speed, temperatures, the barometric pressure, and those things help a lot with current conditions, but we also have access to weather data. Basically, that comes from satellites up in space, and there's a little over 20 models, and each has its own idea of what's going to happen. So basically, I have to go through each and every one, and there's also formulas you have to plug in, and I have to go through each and every one, and some are better than other. Just some have time frames, like there's the European one, which the Europeans have, and that's better in the long range, but then the U.S. has a short-term model, and that's better in the short term.
So when you're predicting, when you're looking out there to really see what's coming our way, you're not just doing it alone. You're also connecting with other adults who are weathermen, and I know that there's the National Weather Service. How do y'all work together to do these predictions?
Well, actually, I have a friend up in Kentucky that has the same interest in me, and he also has a weather page for the Kentucky area, and say there was severe weather, he actually comes down here and helps me with coverage. So I would be up on the green screen, but he controls the graphics and radar.
So I know that now you have this great studio that you get to work in with the green screen, but I think I saw you, so last year before, you were in your bedroom at home, right, when you're in the middle school. Actually, you had a green screen and had the whole setup there. So you've actually gained some followers here. We said you're a local celebrity. You said you thought you'd only have to have your friends and family look at it, but you have a lot of people here watching you. And so where can someone come see you? If they want to see your predictions, where could they find you?
Well, I have a Facebook page, and it's called MEM9 Weather, MEM, the number 9, and Weather. And that's where I post daily updates, mostly text, but I do about one video forecast a day where you go over the latest conditions and the forecast for the next 5 days. And then I also have a Twitter page, which I post updates daily, but more often or not, most of the updates will be on Facebook.
And you have a show too?
Yes,
you have a show?
Every afternoon I do a video forecast for the local Germantown public access station, and those go out in the afternoon, and then I also record one for the morning, and that goes out in the morning.
Incredible.
Well, Finnegan, thank you for being here with us. We look forward to seeing what you do in the future in our own studio, and then maybe moving on. We have to take a short break, but first we'll take a look at a small snippet of some MEM9 weather footage. To watch Finnegan's live coverage, check out his Facebook page at MEM9 Weather. When we come back, we'll talk with Susan Chappers, teacher and Palm Squad sponsor from Houston Middle School, and the HHS Palm Squad student Heather Foreman for this month's program highlight. Back in a bit.
Blowing into the hook, and then we have very strong rotation, and actually we can take a look at possible hail within the storm. We are looking at the possibility, possibly some quarter-sized hail currently entering the Tyro area and portions off towards the north, areas like Barr, Wyatt. You could be picking up some hail, but the main concern right now is that possible tornado, very strong rotation signature here, and that'll be impacting Tyro within the next 1 to 2 minutes. You need to be in your tornado shelter now. A tornado is on your doorstep. If you do not go to your tornado shelter, life and property loss is possible, and we've already received numerous reports of damage and injuries. Wyatt, this storm is right on your doorstep. Barr, tornado shelters now. You seem to be on the northern extent of this storm, but I still want you to be in your tornado shelters until the storm moves off towards the east. Holly Springs, Waterford, you need to get into your tornado shelters now.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I'm Superintendent Jason Manuel. For this part of the show, we will hear about some of the exciting accomplishments of this year's cheer and pom squads. And with us, we have Ms. Chappers. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Well, how long have you been involved with the Palm Squad at Houston Middle
Well,
School?
this is actually my 11th year as the POM sponsor. I was a POM mom for 6 years before that. So I've really been involved in POM for quite some time. I hate to admit it, since 1999.
Oh, wow, that's exciting.
Yes,
So,
long time.
besides your daughter's experience, what were some of your highlights of being the POM sponsor?
Well, of course, you always look back to the years that you won. And so I had the opportunity to win with my squad the very first year, that was 2006.
Was your daughter actually on that squad?
No, she was not.
Oh, goodness.
It worked out much better for us that I was the POM sponsor after she moved on to college. But no, my very first year, 2006, we won. And then the year that Heather was on the squad in 2011, we won in POM. And then again, it was a nice way to wrap it up this year with winning in the hip hop category. So so very, very exciting all 3 years. Those, of course, are the ones that stand out. But every year I always have wonderful, wonderful girls. And it's always been a pleasure to work with the girls and the coaches. I feel very honored.
How big are the squads that we're talking about? How many girls participate?
Well, that really varies from year to year. Some years we have a very big squad, 25, 26, 27. And then some years, just depending on the number of girls that try out, we might have 15, 16, 18. It really just depends.
You said you won the hip hop. Are there several different categories that you compete in?
Yes, in the junior high category, you have POM, and then you have hip hop. So you can enter. And there actually are other opportunities as well. It's just that Houston Middle doesn't take advantage of those. They actually have jazz, they have high kick. So there's several options, even for middle school students.
Okay.
Now, I have my experience with cheer because my
Of
daughters
course.
both did cheer. But with the cheer world, they divide it by the size of the squad. Do they have divisions too for middle school POM?
Not in the middle school category. Now, up in high school, yes, they do. But in middle school, we can perform with as many as we like, which is kind of a nice option for us.
And it can be co-ed too, because I know in years
It
past
can be.
you have...
It can be, yes. And you do see the occasional co-ed squad out there. In the past years, we had a couple years where we had a couple of young men that did some hip hop with us. We haven't for the last couple of years, but there is always that option. And you see some young men out there that even do POM.
Oh, wow.
So, yes.
Well, what are the differences between the POM routines and the hip hop routines that y'all do in your squad?
POM routines do focus on technique, turns and toe touches and splits, and just different technical areas. In hip hop, there is much more of, instead of technique, you really have tricks that you perform, which you'll see when you look at the clip of our routine. There are just lots and lots of little tricks that are supposed to catch the audience's attention and hopefully are very enjoyable when you watch a hip hop routine. And then, of course, there's the music that makes you just want to move in hip hop. So that's kind of the basis of hip hop.
But hip hop too can have props now or the type of clothing, because I know there are years where they had vests and the zipper didn't work, or there are
Right,
issues.
that is absolutely true. We haven't really gone that route because that can be very problematical, like you say. But yes, there are, and not exactly props. You're really not allowed to have props in dance, but you can remove like a jacket and throw it off to the side. Or a hat or something like that. So we haven't done that, but yes, in that regard, you could have.
Now I imagine these competitions, up to this level, the judges are so picky that it's got to be so hard to win because I'm assuming you have to be absolutely flawless. Every single person
Well, you try
has to be almost
and then
flawless,
I
right?
have to say the difference in the ranking of the teams can be just minuscule. You can win by less than a point or a point. So it is very close there. By the time you get to finals, there are a lot of good teams out there. So it's another reason why you feel very, very honored when you win because you know you're competing against a lot of other good teams.
And just the pressure, I know from my experience with my daughters that situation that you have to be perfect, you have to do everything right is a challenge.
It is.
Well, we just want to say thank you for
Well,
the years that you have given to
I
our
have
girls.
enjoyed every year very, very much, and it will leave a little bit of hole in my heart when I leave. And but I promised them I will come back and visit and be the POM grandma. So,
Well, thank you very much
well,
for
thank
being
you
here
for
with us
having
today,
me.
Ms. Chapter.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll actually get to spend some time with Heather Foreman and see some of these amazing techniques.
We are now here with Heather Foreman, one of our senior pom girls, who's going to teach us a little bit about what the judges look for when they do a pom routine at state and nationals. Hey Heather, how are you?
Good, how are you?
So tell me, how long have you been doing pom?
I have done pom for 7 years. I started in 6th grade and did 3 years at Houston Middle School. And then I tried out my freshman year for varsity and made it. And so I've done that all 4 years.
Oh, well, what are some of your favorite moments? What is one moment that you would think is your highlight?
My favorite moment would have to be in 7th grade. We won nationals in the pom division.
Oh, wow, that's exciting.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about what the judges look for. So when you're doing a routine, tell us about what you do.
Okay, so the judges are basically looking for our technique, which is if you're pointing your toe, if your foot's straight, how pretty your tricks are basically. How our energy level, if you die at the very end or if you still look like you just are a 5-year-old and happy to be there. And they look for your performance, so your face.
Oh, exciting. Well, show us some of the moves that those judges
Okay,
are
so the
looking
first
for.
thing I'll do is turns in second.
Okay. Okay, so that was one that was turns in seconds?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the next one that they're going
Okay,
to look for?
the next one is going to be a toe touch.
Okay.
I sound like an elephant.
And third, what's the third one?
All right, the third one is going to be a scale.
Okay. Now, when you're doing those in the routine, is everyone doing the same thing at the same time, or do you have some people who are out front taking a lead at different times?
Well, it depends of the difficulty of the skill. Obviously, it's going to be more impressive if the whole team's doing that. But there's some really hard things, so we put, 1 or 2 people or groups of people in there.
Oh, well, exciting. Well, I think we have a video of our middle school squad, and we're going to look for some of those things. So you said turns and scales.
Yes, sir.
What were the other two?
Toe touch. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's
And we're
exciting.
going to look for their faces.
And we're going to look for those faces.
Yes.
Well, thank you for showing us. I know this is
Thank you.
probably not normally where you compete, but thank you for
Right.
doing it for us.
Thank you.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back. I'm your superintendent, Jason Manuel.
And I am Mason Grace.
and you're watching GMSD's Spotlight on Excellence. We want to spend our last moments highlighting an exemplary teacher in a segment we call the Teacher Feature. With us today is Mario Aviles, PE teacher at Farmington Elementary School, founder of the Falcons 5K running team, and a member of the GMSD Stampede Committee planning this year's 5K race this spring. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Mario, I hear you have an interesting story, so tell us about your background.
Well, originally I'm from Nicaragua, but I grew up in Miami, Florida, where I prefer sunny weather and palm trees. So
how did you wind up here in Germantown, Tennessee?
good question. Lost a bet. No, just kidding. My wife, we were in Orlando. She finished her master's degree, so FedEx recruited her. So I just came along and finished at University of Memphis School.
So you were talking about your wife. I heard there's an interesting story. How did you two meet, and then how did you get married?
Well, we met in Miami. She was a volleyball player. I was in track. So through sports, we kind of got connected, and then eventually we came to Memphis after school. But the interesting fact is that we got married on TV, Live at 9, called. It had a segment on Fox 13 News called. I can't remember now. Wedding on a budget. Sorry. And so basically, the concept was that you were supposed to get. They kind of know you for a whole month, and every day or so they would kind of interview, kind of almost like a semi-reality show where people get to vote on the dress, the costume, anything that you had, the rings, the honeymoon. And so basically at 8 o'clock a.m. on May 31st, you're pretty much being married live on TV. So
you let the city of Memphis essentially plan the details of your wedding.
Essentially, yes, pretty much, yes. So that was, interesting, fact on that part.
Well, tell us how you got involved with Germantown Municipal Schools, because you didn't start out as a teacher in our district, is that correct?
No, I got involved through the YMCA, and so the YMCA had a program where I had to go through 3 schools and had after-school programs, and so basically when I got hired through the YMCA, they noticed that I was a PE background teacher, and so this was a perfect way to kind of implement PE or PE classes or kind of games to the YMCA program. And so I was going to 3 schools. I was going to Chimney Rock Elementary, Farmington Elementary, and Germantown Elementary. And so my time was to be rotated and kind of incorporate games that the kids can enjoy after school.
And so you not only are the PE teacher, but you also started a club there. So what's the club you said?
Yes, the club is called the Falcons 5K Club. And basically the goal was to just kind of train kids so they can do 5K races and eventually just to complete one in itself, because that was already a challenge itself when you have kids that are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. And eventually that kind of got more competitive and to the point that now we do cross-country races, which were track meets, but us at the same time keeping it, also doing some 5K races.
Now, you're not just a sponsor for this group, you're also a runner yourself.
Yes, I am. Yes, I ran in college and all that. My event was the mile and the 800 as well as cross-country, but it got to the point that the kids inspire me so much that you have to just run. You just cannot kind of run on your own. So I try to be competitive just like I was in college. I still train the same concept like I was, even though I'm a lot older. But it gives me the edge to keep on running faster and trying to win some 5K races if I can. So
now you're doing long distance, so are you doing longer than a 5K? Or
I mainly concentrate on 5K races, maybe occasional 10K. I don't do any half marathons or marathons. That's just too much for me to handle.
But I think you're a mainstay around the city of Germantown. I think after school, a lot of people will see you running.
Yeah, you'll see me running on Wolf River Boulevard, if not Farmington Boulevard. People will honk at me. I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'm right there,
Mr.
man.
Mario!
That's right, that's me running around. So.
It also obviously pays off because I think you have won some of the 5Ks locally, right? Is that
there
right?
There are some, they're low-key 5K races. One in particular in September called the Edwin's Way 5K. I think there's somebody from Germantown here. We support him, so I'll take the 5K club as well. And so I've won that several times, so it's kind of cool, bragging rights here and there, but something to look forward to again every year.
Now, you started with the 5K club, but it's grown from that. You actually have spin-off clubs because the interest is so great now.
Yes, it has gotten so competitive, and everybody wants to be a 5K club member now that we've gotten to all the teachers want to do like a running club, run like a girl kind of club kind of deal. So they've gotten, but they're more targeted toward the younger ones, maybe 1st or 2nd graders. That kind of helps me along because then those 2nd grade kids, then they can maybe transition and try out for my club in 3rd grade.
And have y'all done any competitions with other schools?
Yes, we have. Last year we attended the Memphis Youth Organization where it focuses on a lot of cross country, and we have won that back-to-back years for the girls and boys, the championship, which qualifies for state. And though this season the girls got 6th place overall at a state, and the boys got 4th place overall at a state. So that was kind of very,
that's
fulfilling
exciting.
moment kind of for them and as well for me.
That's
and,
awesome.
and I'm sure the high school coaches are excited too because you are training their athletes.
Yeah, I give them the
for-
foundation where they all starts, and so they get the bet of my runners because now, like for example, Houston Middle School, I believe they won the state championship for the girls. So I'm here kind of trying to get that championship while they're all getting the best out of my runners.
I'm sure you will get there.
Yes.
Now, you're also planning something exciting for the district. I know you're working with the Education Foundation to really plan this Stampede Run. Tell us a little bit about that.
So this is the first time we're doing our own version of Race for Education. So nowadays, all targeting just to all the schools in Germantown. And so now we're focusing on the schools that we have here, Houston Middle, high school, Riverdale, Dogwood, and ourselves, Farmington. And so it's the first time we're doing a 5K race, but on top of that, we're doing a color run. And I think that's going to really be the selling point for the kids, where they throw powder up in the air, they run through it, and they get all stained in different colors. Even myself, I think I'm going to do it for the first time. I've never done it. So that kind of really works well. But on top of that, it's not just a 5K, like I tell the kids. It's more like a festival. We're going to have music, performances, bands out there performing, and so all of that. So therefore, everybody can enjoy the moment that it's not, all the community be involved, all the sponsors in terms of the food and everything. And so it's kind of one great moment to be there with having bouncy stuff, face painting, you name it. So it's not just for running for the 5K.
So I haven't run in a long time. So if I want to be a part of, say, the color run, but not be a part of the 5K, can I do that?
Of course, yeah. You have the option of doing just the 5K or the color run because they're going to be different segment of timing, starting time. So it allows for the 5K if they want to do it, and then eventually if you want to do the color run as well. So it's not at the same. There will be a separate time so that everybody can be involved and so forth.
So just thinking of the timeline, the way I understand it is at 12 o'clock the event starts. And there'll be tons of things there. There'll be music with the stage. There'll be vendors out there for eating. There'll be different performers on the stage, not just music.
Correct.
Then the actual race starts at
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
And then an hour after the 5K race, then we'll have the color
run.
the 1 mile color run.
So and there's food trucks out there, I understand. So even if you don't want to run at all, you can just come be a part of the festival.
And I tell the
right?
kids, it's a family event. Think of it as a festival. You enjoy the entertainment, family friend. The weather should be great, hopefully. And then everybody will enjoy the music, the food, the entertainment, bounce. I mean, you name it. It's not just come along, cheer your teammates. Your teachers, I'm pretty sure, are going to be there as well. Some of our teachers are trying to see if we can find a way to perform as well, with musically. So that will be entertainment itself. So again, it'll be everybody will have something to kind of look forward to. So.
Excellent.
Well, we're excited. Well, thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
thank
it.
you for really working with our kids with the 5K clubs and with this exciting event coming to Germantown schools.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for on this month's Spotlight on Excellence. If you'd like more information about this or any other show on Germantown Municipal Television, visit us on our website at www.gmtvonline.org. Until next time, this has been Superintendent Jason Manuel for this month's installment of the Germantown Municipal School District's Spotlight on Excellence.